Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to TJKidz Super Fun Stories, where imagination becomes reality. Happy almost Valentine's Day, everyone! I hope you all have a wonderful Valentine's Day and that you get everything you wish for. I thought today would be a perfect day for a fun little Valentine's adventure. One where a girl makes a very big wish, but doesn't quite get what she expected. What she does get is a day full of giggles, mix-ups, and a very tiny helper with very big confidence and very poor timing. So grab a comfy spot, get cozy, and join me for this Valentine's Day adventure. Cupid, you missed. Izzy and her best friend Ian sat side by side in class, pretending to read their history books while whispering about their Valentine's Day plans. Valentine's Day was tomorrow, and the whole school buzzed with excitement.
My plan
Ian whispered proudly.
is to surprise my parents with a secret date night. I'm going to set the table, light a candle, and make them spaghetti. It's gonna be perfect.
Izzy smiled, but a tiny ache tugged at her heart.
I wish I could do something like that,
She whispered back.
but my parents aren't together anymore. They're still friends, but I don't think they'll ever get back together.
Before Ian could answer, their teacher, Miss Valentine, clapped her hands. All right, class. Time for some Valentine's Day history. We'll be learning about the legend of Cupid. The students suddenly perked up. Miss Valentine continued. According to old stories, a Cupid can be invited by offering something you truly love. In return, the Cupid appears to grant a love wish. But you must say the special words. Oh, kind Cupid, with love so true, I offer this gift and call on you. The class laughed at the rhyme. Izzy and Ian locked eyes.
You think that actually works?
Whispered Izzy.
I don't know,
Ian said.
but if you want your parents to fall in love again, maybe it's worth a try. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. You could try it tonight.
Izzy thought about it for a moment. What could she offer? Something she loved.
I guess I could offer my annoying cousin Paul,
She joked quietly.
but his parents would probably miss him.
Ian let out a giggle. Then it came to her.
My panda!
Izzy blurted out.
The stuffed one holding a heart. Mom and Dad gave it to me together as a Valentine's gift one year. It's perfect.
That night, Izzy set the scene exactly like the teacher described. She placed her panda in a little basket, lit a small candle. Then she closed her eyes and whispered,
Oh, kind Cupid, with love so true, I offer this gift and call on you.
She opened one eye slightly and peeked, hoping something would happen. Nothing.
Oh well,
She said as she blew out the candle and crawled back into bed. But deep down, she still had hope that it might work. Morning sunlight spilled into her room. Izzy stretched, yawned, and glanced at the basket. Huh? She said. The basket was empty. Her heart skipped a beat.
No way.
A million thoughts raced through her mind as she opened her closet to grab her clothes.
Hello, Izzy. Thanks for the panda.
Ah! Izzy shrieked. Floating in front of her was a tiny, cheerful-looking baby with wings, curly hair, and a glowing golden halo hovering above his head. He zipped around her room like he'd just woken up from a 1,000-year nap.
Oh, it feels good to stretch these wings. It's been ages since someone called me.
Izzy was still trying to wrap her head around what just happened.
So, you're actually Cupid? Like, the real one? Yep. Well, a Cupid. There are lots of us, but I'm the best one. Well, at least I used to be. It's been a while. But yeah, I'm ready to go,
he replied, trying to sound confident, even though he clearly wasn't.
Anyway, you invited me, so I'm here to grant your love wish. Who would you like to fall in love with? A famous movie star, perhaps? Maybe little Ricky Ice Pop, the boy band prince? Easy. Just tell me where he is.
Izzy giggled, shaking her head.
No, it's not for me. I want my mom and dad to fall in love again.
Cupid grinned.
Easy. Classic job. I'll zap your dad with an arrow right before he sees your mom. Boom. Love City. Ooh la la. Ah, love is back in the air. I can feel it. It sounds like smooth jazz floating through a room full of candles under a moonlit night.
Izzy felt a spark of excitement.
Mom's picking me up for school in a few minutes. When she comes to the door and Dad kisses me goodbye, that's your moment.
Cupid saluted.
Consider it done.
Izzy ran downstairs, ate a quick bowl of cereal, and grabbed her lunch. Minutes later, a knock came at the door. Izzy ran over, excited to let Mom inside. Dad leaned down to kiss Izzy's forehead.
Have a great day, kiddo.
Mom smiled warmly.
Good morning.
Izzy peeked around the corner. Cupid hovered there, halo glowing, tiny arrow ready. Izzy whispered,
Now!
Cupid's arrow zipped through the air and poked Dad right in the backside. Ow! But at that exact moment, Rosie the poodle trotted over to greet Mom, and she scooped her up. Dad shook his head, dazed. He looked up, and the first thing he saw was Rosie's fluffy face blocking Mom's. Dad's eyes filled with sparkly hearts.
Oh, wow, he whispered. You look beautiful.
Mom blushed.
Oh,
But Dad grabbed Rosie right out of her arms and smothered the dog in kisses. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Mom froze. Okay, that's new. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Izzy slapped her forehead.
Oh, boy.
At school, Ian nearly fell out of his chair when Izzy told him the news.
You actually got a Cupid? Yes, Izzy groaned. But now my dad's in love with our dog.
Ian giggled.
Oh no, that's not good. But you have to admit, that's pretty hilarious.
After school, Mom drove Izzy back to Dad's house so she could get her teddy bear that she forgot. But really, Izzy just needed Mom to come inside so Cupid could work his magic. When they arrived, Dad was in the yard picking flowers, while Rosie the poodle hid in the bathroom. "Where are you, my love?" Dad called, holding a bouquet of wild flowers. "I picked these for you." Mom turned to Izzy and whispered, "Is he okay?" Izzy whispered back, "Not even a little." Cupid floated beside her, invisible to everyone else. "Relax. Happens all the time. I'll just zap him again when he sees your mom." Back inside the house, Dad opened the fridge to grab some ice cream. "Oh, could you get me a glass of milk while you're there?" Mom asked. Cupid fired. Dad jumped. "Ouch!" Dad turned, but the fridge door swung wide, blocking Mom's face. Dad spoke in a dreamy voice. "Oh, my beautiful, silver-skinned wonder, where have you been all my life?" He kissed the fridge door. Mom and Izzy exchanged a quick, confused glance, as if checking whether the other had seen it too. Rosie the poodle peeked out into the kitchen, with flowers stuck to her ears, looking absolutely horrified. Dad pulled out some ice cream. "Let me count the ways I love thee." He kissed the ice cream as it dripped down his chin. "Mwah, mwah," Izzy whispered.
Cupid, you missed again.
Cupid shrugged his shoulders. "I'm a little rusty." Mom turned to Izzy. "I think we should leave your father alone for a while. He looks overwhelmed." But Izzy wasn't ready to give up just yet. She ran upstairs to grab her teddy bear.
Dad, can you come say goodbye?
She called. Dad shuffled over, still holding his melting ice cream. Cupid aimed once again. Ouch! Just as the arrow hit Dad, Izzy dove out of the way. But her teddy bear slipped from her hands and landed right in Dad's line of sight. Dad looked lovingly at the teddy bear. "Bubbles, my love, where have you been?" He scooped up the bear and hugged it tightly. Mom whispered, "We're leaving the bear here, Izzy. Daddy needs some alone time." Izzy sounded disappointed.
Yeah, probably best.
Izzy and her mom drove toward home. But halfway there, Izzy knew she had to think fast.
"Oh no, my book! I need it for my book report."
Mom looked annoyed.
"All right, but this is the last trip today,"
she said as she turned the car around. When they walked back into Dad's house, they stopped in their tracks. Dad had set up a full candlelit dinner, 2 plates, 2 cups, a tiny vase with a single flower, and across from him, sitting in a booster seat at the table, was Bubbles the teddy bear. Dad held a piece of paper and read dramatically. "Your eyes are like rainbows. Your fur is so fine. Oh, Bubbles, my darling, I'm glad you are mine." Izzy covered her face.
"Oh no."
"Okay, Izzy, what is happening?" Mom whispered. "Why is your father having a romantic dinner with Bubbles the bear?" Izzy knew she couldn't hide the truth any longer. So she told her everything. The legend, the offering, the rhyme, the Cupid, the arrows, the dog, the fridge, the teddy bear. Mom listened quietly, then knelt beside her. Honey, your dad and I love you more than anything in the world. We're always going to be a team for you. But being in love with each other, that's different. And it's okay if that part changed. Families can still be families in lots of ways. Izzy spoke softly.
I just wanted things to go back to how they were.
Mom hugged her. I know, but some things aren't meant to be fixed. They're meant to be understood. Cupid floated down beside them, looking unusually serious. She's right, Izzy. I tried my best, but love magic only works when it's supposed to. I can undo the arrows, though. That part is easy. He zipped over to Dad, tapped him gently with one last reversal arrow, and Dad shook his head, blinking repeatedly, like waking from a long nap. Whoa, what? Why am I having dinner with a teddy bear? He asked, sounding confused. It's a long story, Mom said. We'll explain later. Dad shrugged and looked at the lovely meal he had prepared. Well, who wants dinner? Mom looked at Izzy and then turned to Dad. Maybe another day, she said. The next morning at school, Ian slid into his seat beside Izzy. So, how'd your Cupid thing go? Izzy smiled.
Well, my dad fell in love with our dog, our fridge, and then prepared a romantic dinner for my teddy bear. How did your night go?
Ian burst out laughing.
Okay, that's way better than my night. I tried to make spaghetti for my parents and accidentally dumped the whole pot on the floor. And then I spilled sauce on my mom's new dress.
Izzy giggled.
Maybe love magic isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Ian nodded in agreement.
Yeah, maybe some things just happen the way they're supposed to. Yeah, I guess that's okay,
said Izzy. Cupid peeked through the classroom window, gave Izzy a tiny thumbs up, and zipped away into the sky. The end. And that is the end of our story, friends. Wow, what a Valentine's Day that turned out to be. I don't think Izzy expected her dad to fall in love with the dog, the fridge, and a teddy bear all in one afternoon. But you know, that reminds me of a moral I learned from today's story. Sometimes when we try to force things to be the way that we want, they end up getting a whole lot sillier before they get better. And another thing I learned is that families can still be strong and full of love, even when they don't look exactly the way we imagined. Well, that's it for today, friends. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one. Toodles!